What's up, guys? This is Teddy. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This video, we're going to be talking about operators and expressions in Java. And to just kind of get us started, I'm going to ask a very simple question. If you were to look at this expression right here, what do you think would be an operator? And let's just kind of talk about what this word, this fancy word operator means. And it's kind of important because thus far we really haven't been manipulating any of our data at all. We haven't been adding, we haven't been concatenating, we haven't really been making any objects. We've just been kind of assigning variables, which, if you didn't know, the equal sign is actually going to be our very first operator. The second is going to be the plus sign. So both of these are both operators right here. The equal sign, if you didn't know the equal sign was an operator, that's okay. But I would assume that most people would be able to tell that the plus is an operator from just basic math. But we've talked about operators and we've got a fundamental idea of what operators are. What is an expression? And this is kind of important because if you don't know what an expression is, or if you don't use an expression in the right context, it can make you look really stupid, which has happened to me. But you learn from my mistakes. So an expression, as you probably guessed, and I think I already referred to this is an expression. But why is it an expression? It's an expression because it's got a variable and it's got something that's acting on the variable, aka an operand, operator. Sometimes people call it an operand, which is like a really fancy way of saying it. It's got a variable. There's a variable in here, and it doesn't have the other one. The other is if it has a method invocation. If it has a method invocation, it could also be described as an expression, but does not have those, so it satisfies these two constraints of having a variable and an operand. And that's really all you need to know in terms of, like, I call it like dinner talk knowledge, just weird little bits of knowledge that you need to know in order to not look stupid in front of people. Now let's actually talk about what you need to know, and we're going to practice all of these in IntelliJ here in a second, but let's just start off with arithmetic. I don't need to really explain to you guys what an addition sign is. I think if you're learning programming at this point, you know what an addition sign is. You can add variables together. Okay, this is a negative sign. Don't need to really explain that one. The two places where people could get confused, and if you guys, most of the people who watch this channel are people who grew up in the internet age. You know that this is multiply. You know that this is divide. But most people never know what this one is. And this is not a percent symbol. This is what's called a modulus, a mod. Modulus is the technical term. Sometimes people call it a mod. And a mod or a modulus, you don't even need, I wouldn't even remember the word modulus. Only thing that you need to know is that a modulus is a division remainder. So if you divide 8 divided by 2, you get 4. You get 4. My tablet's messing up. You get 4 with no remainder. If you divide 7 divided by 4, you do get a remainder. And your remainder is going to be 4 only goes into 7 one time, and you get 3. And that's going to be the modulus. Modulus, remainder, whatever you want to call it, not really that complicated at all. So let's just go ahead and we're going to go into IntelliJ and we're going to create our own, we're just going to call it like int Pokemon, or we're going to call it Pikachu number. We're going to call it a Pikachu number. Just try to make it a little fun, a little funny. And we're going to say our Pikachu number is 3 and our Squirtle number, these are almost like horoscopes that we made up, but with Pokemon, it's going to be 4. And then we're just going to go down here, int, and we'll just add them. Pikachu number Pikachu Squirtle number is equal to Pikachu number plus Squirtle number. And that is going to be your practice for arithmetic operators. And then you just go in here and say, my Pikachu Squirtle number is, then just go into here and say your Pikachu Squirtle number. And let's go ahead and run this. Make sure I put my semicolon there, and we're going to run it without the debugger. Sometimes I do run it with debugger, but in this case, I am not going to. So our numbers are added, but let's just practice in here for a little bit, see what happens, and we are going to just add them. And in this case, we are concatenating the integer onto the string. And it's just going to essentially jam that 1 onto the end of the string and turn it into a nice pretty sentence that we can read. But what if we want to go into here and add a string to a string? We could totally do that as long as we change our types. Remember, if you have an integer here, you have to change it to a string. So we're going to change it to a string. And then we're going to say instead of numbers, we're going to have Pikachu Squirtle. And then we're going to go in here and we're going to change this to, because it is now a string. And the same exact thing is going to happen. And we're going to add these because you cannot subtract 2 strings, because that makes no sense. So we are in essence just going to add these together. And what's going to happen is that our new number is going to be Pikachu Squirtle jammed together. And I've just introduced you guys to the concept, a very important concept of concatenation. So we have just used operands to join 2 data types together. So whenever you join 2 strings together, and this is kind of an aside a little bit, but it's kind of an important aside. So whenever you take 2 strings, you jam them together, it's called concatenation. Concatenation. And it's basically a fancy word for saying that 2 strings have been added. So you just added a string and a string. And this is very obvious. We really do not need to go much more into arithmetic operators. What we really need to start focusing on are the more complicated operators. And we're going to kind of do this step by step so that you guys don't get too confused. But next thing is we're going to be talking about assignment operators. And if you paid attention to the very beginning, I kind of coyly said, or just kind of said, that the equal sign is an operator. In fact, that's one thing that many people don't really realize, is that the equal sign is in fact an operator, and it is an assignment operator. You probably knew that 3 plus 3, the plus, was an operator, but you might not have known that an equal sign is actually an operator. And we're just going to go into IntelliJ after I briefly explain each of these, and we're just going to practice a couple of them. But assignment operators, this you already understand here. So if we were going to use an assignment operator, we would say A equals 7. Congratulations, you just used an assignment operator. But these ones might not be so intuitive to you. Like, what does this mean? This actually means this. It's a shortened way of saying A is equal to A plus B. And the best part of all is that you don't have to use the A. It's just shorthand. It's syntactic. I don't think it's technically syntactic sugar, but it's just there to make your life a little bit easier. It's not there for any specific, there's nothing that this can't do that just a regular good old A equals A plus B can do. And that's kind of the whole entire gist of it. So let's go here, and it's going to be the same thing. A is equal to A minus B. A is equal to A times B. A is equal to A divided by b, and a is equal to a mod b. Very simple. Let's just go in here and let's practice a couple of them. Once again, this is super intuitive, and just play around with it. You don't need to go and practice these over and over, because I feel like most people are going to get these just lickety split. These are not going to be that hard at all. So your Pokemon number is going to equal 4 and int. So let's just say int var, and let's just declare just a nice little var value up here as well too. So var is equal to Pokemon number. So we're going to assign Pokemon number to our var. So var, and because we've already declared it, we don't need to put a type in front of it like we did before. So because this is already declared up here, we don't have to go down in here and type that. It's already declared. So what we can do now is we can just go ahead and put our Pokemon number inside of it, and we can declare this new var variable from undefined, which it is right now, into the Pokemon number. Then we can go in here and we can say Poke number using equals plus var. Okay, so you guys get that, and we're just using good old assignment operator. We're not doing any of the other fancy ones. So let's go down here and we're going to say var plus equal to Pokemon number. So we're going to add the Pokemon number before we just assigned it. Then we're going to go down here. We're going to go system.out. Then we're going to say Poke number using the plus or assignment operator, and we're going to assign it once again the value var. Then let's go down and let's practice with a good old common, something that you see quite a lot is going to be the multiplication assignment operator. Then we're going to go down here. We're going to go s out. We're going to go Pokemon number using the multiplication is equal to plus var. Then we're going to go up here, and this is pretty much all the practice that we need. Just go ahead, run it, get your fingers going, get the muscle memory going, and if you look there, you can see that it did indeed add, and it did indeed multiply our numbers. So next is going to be relational operators, and we're going to go back to the whiteboard here. So relational operators are another important one, and you will see relational operators a lot in if statements, because you use relational operators in order to get Boolean values. So if I were to say, is there a relationship between me and you? Kind of weird saying that, but if I were to ask that, you would never say an integer in response to that. You would never say string, or you would never give a word other than true, yes or no, true or false. Is there or is there not a relationship between me and you? Kind of strange, but once again, it's there to illustrate the example that whenever you're using relational operators, look at it like you're trying to get a Boolean out of it. You're not trying to get a string. You're not trying to get another number. You're just comparing a relationship. So if you're looking at the first one, so is turtle equal to turtle? That's my dog's name. So if I say is turtle equal to turtle, that is true. Those are equal. Like there's no non-equalness there. They're the exact same thing. It is true. So is turtle not equal to turtle? This is the not equal to turtle. It's false because they are not equal. Now we get into greater than or less than. And whenever you have a greater than or less than, you're going to be comparing numbers. You're not going to be comparing. You could use this with a string, but you would never see that. These are going to be for Boolean values. So if you see this greater than or less than, it's going to be, is 1 greater than 0? It's going to be true. Is 1 less than 0? False. And then you'll see greater than or equal to. Is 1 greater than or equal to 0? Yes, it is greater than 0. Is 1 greater than or equal to 0? Or less than? You change that. Sorry about that. Go back. False. It is not. And that is the whole entire idea of relational operators. So let's go in here to IntelliJ and let's practice a couple of them. So we're going to go up here. We'll leave. Actually, we're going to change. So we're going to go Pokemon number. So we're going to go back to the Pikachu and Pokemon number. So Pikachu, Squirtle number. Going to go ahead, delete all this, and what we're going to do is just say equals, so we'll go SOUT. So if you didn't see how I did that, I just typed in SOUT and then typed in tab or enter. So is Squirtle number, so is Pikachu number equal to Squirtle number? We don't know. It's going to be false because it's not equal to, but we will find out when we actually run the program. So next one is going to be same thing. Pikachu number, is it not equal to, is Pikachu not equal to the Squirtle number? And that is going to be true. Okay, so the next one is going to be, is the Pikachu number greater than or equal to, is Pikachu number greater than Squirtle number? And it is. So it's going to be a true. Next is going to be the less than symbol. SOUT, Pikachu number is less than Squirtle number. Okay, so let's do the last two, which are going to be easy because they are pretty much the exact same thing. Is less than, greater than, or equal, is it greater than or is it equal to? Which it is greater than, but it's not equal to, but it's still true. So after that is going to be Pikachu number greater, less than, or equal to the Squirtle number. And with that, let's go ahead and run it, see what it looks like. So all of them accounted to what we had in mind. Okay, so next is going to be logical operators. Whenever you see the double ampersand, just think and, or think that both have to be true. Both must be true in order for the ampersand to validate true logic. If one of them is false, it's going to be false. Both of them must be true. With or, whenever you see the double pipes, just think or, and it can be either. So if either are true, either true, then it is going to evaluate to true logic. And the logical is more of a negation, and I'll show you exactly how these work in IntelliJ. So just to kind of not get you confused, I've already got a very simple example right here. And this, what do you think that this will evaluate to true? So 5 is 5 less than 3, it's going to be false. So automatically it can't be true. If 8 is greater than 5, that is going to be true. So we've got one false and we've got one true. Let's see what happens. So if one of them, so this one is false. So if one of them is false, then it does not evaluate. Just remember that whenever you have ampersand, you have to just think and both of them must be true. So let's just go ahead and let's evaluate to one that is true. Let's just briefly change it so that it does come out correctly. So we'll just change this one so that it does evaluate correctly to true. And then we know that this one evaluates to true, and we will see right here what will happen. So we go in here, we go ahead, make sure we save it, Control S. We're gonna go ahead and run it. And we've got true. So hopefully you understand how the ampersand symbol works. So let's go ahead and let's try out the double pipe or the OR. So what we're going to go do is we're going to go 5 is less than 3, and we're going to have the same exact one as we have before, and we're going to see if we can get it to evaluate true. So we've got this one, same as above, which this one did not evaluate to true, but if it is a OR, it does evaluate to true. And then here we will just practice the negation operator. So we're going to go into here. We will have bang symbol 5 is equal to 5. So 5 is equal to 5. This is true, but if there is an exclamation point, let's go ahead and run it. It is going to evaluate to false. If the bang symbol were not there, it would indeed be true. So here we're going to practice one more time before we move on. We'll go bang symbol 5 is greater than 3. Actually, let's make it less than so that it is true. So we're going to go ahead, see if we can get it to run true, and it evaluates to true. Okay, so last but not least is unary operators, and unary operators are in charge of incrementing and decrementing values. So the positive unary operator, essentially if you just had a number, and let's just say you had +7 and it was assigned to some type of variable, it would increment or decrement this value +7. Decrement is the same way. You will see them with a plus, you'll see a number, or you'll see some type of variable with a negative or a positive in front of it, and this is going to be what increments, or how much you want to increment and how much you want to decrement these values. When you see a plus plus or when you see a minus minus, these are in charge of incrementing and decrementing by 1. So just remember, whenever you see the plus plus, whenever you see the negative negative, it's the same thing as this, but it's just doing it with 1 or -1. So let's go in here and kind of a little bit esoteric, a little bit kind of difficult to understand, but if you just see it in action, it's just one of those things that you will very quickly know to understand. So we're going to go up here, we're going to declare integer by 6, and then we're going to go in here and we're going to add num. We're going to take this 6 and we are going to increment it with our unary operator by 6. So let's go in here and let's console log this. We're going to go console log num. We're going to see what the value of num is. Then we're going to go down here and we're going to decrement by num as well too. Then you will see how this works. Then we're going to go num. So adding 6, and then we're going to subtract 6 with our unary operators. Let's see what the values are. So we've got 6, and then it goes down, and then it goes to -6. But let's also practice some of our decrement and increment. So same thing, we're going to go into here, and what we're going to do is we're just going to have this decrement with negative. Then we're going to go into here, and we're going to print it out again. So we're going to go SOUT, we're going to go num. So we've got that. Then we're going to go num, and we're going to add it again, and then we're going to go console log this one more time just to see what it looks like, and you guys will see it in action. So went ahead, decremented it, now it's 5, then it turned into 6, and that is it. That is pretty much a very real-world introduction to all of the operands and expressions that we use. Hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and as always, thank you for watching.